Hi, so if you're wondering why I'm walking and why there's not a lot of light, I'm currently headed towards a bus stop to go to the central station and then catch a train to Eindhoven. Now, why is this so worthy today, unlike other days? Well, I'm not really going to university today, rather I'm going for my amateur radio exam. So apparently here in the Netherlands you schedule that with the same organisation, CBR, which issues the driver's license exams. And that thing away, it's very much kind of like that. Now, I ended up deciding to go with Eindhoven, so it kind of felt like going to university. That's my mom's way. I initially wanted to keep it a little bit of a secret until I passed, but then, of course, my mom was asking me to write down all the exam details, and for good reason. So, of course, how she knows about this as well. Yeah, she wished me good luck. Of course, a real quick little refresher if you're haven't seen some of my earlier videos. Last year I actually intended to do amateur radio. I even made a video about how it began and how I'm gonna start, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get time for the exam. There were a lot of university exams and stuff like that getting in the way, so I had to give those priority, of course, which turned out alright. So now I'm going to take this hopefully one and only attempt at the novice amateur radio license, which will allow me to operate in the 2 meters, 70 centimeters, as well as some of the HF amateur bands.
Centraal station jaarbeurs zijn. Dit is het eindpunt van deze bus. Vergeet niet uit te checken. Denk bij het verlaten van de bus aan je eigen. We wensen je nog een fijne dag en bedanken je voor het reizen met UOV.
Indeed, here we are at the central station, and since I made that video about like the first beginnings of amateur radio, I've been studying quite a bit, and I've done a couple of examples exams and demonstrated some of the software I'm going to be using for digital modes on the amateur radio band. So I think I'm going to be quite confident to be starting, but it's still kind of stressful, of course. Like, what is that? I'm quite thinking up about how I'm going to do this. What would be the correct answer for the questions that I could get. So, yeah, wish me good luck. Oh, and in addition to that, I thought my train to Eindhoven was going to be delayed by a delayed ICE train to Frankfurt. Fortunately, that didn't happen though, so let's move on to what happened next. off the bus on time, but here I am in fact walking over the London Day near the examination centre.
A few moments later.
Oh yeah, what a relief, to be honest, to have done the exam and see the little green screen that you get when you pass, like the thumb up. I'm expecting the results in via email, but I also kind of already know them. I've had 40 questions, and of those 40 questions, you're allowed to have a maximum of 11 incorrect. That would barely count as a pass. I've had 2 incorrect questions, which kind of shows that here in the Netherlands and many other countries, the entry-level license, the novice, can be quite easy to start with. Like, all it really requires is a bit of intrinsic motivation and a bit of common sense knowledge about electronics. So yeah, I had all that, and it works first try, which is yeah, definitely worthy of a little reward. Of course, when I get the definitive results, I'm going to get all the paperwork filed with the Dutch Inspection for Digital Infrastructure, and to order my first radio and associated equipment. So it has been about 3 days ago, as I'm recording this, that I have officially passed the amateur radio exam. And yesterday I actually filled in the registration for the Dutch Inspection for Digital Infrastructure, which manages all the things related to, among other things, radio communication. And why I need to register with the inspection is kind of like with the American FCC, British Ofcom, and the idea is that they need to know your call sign so that they can kind of monitor who is on the air and make sure that everyone who uses the amateur frequencies is allowed to do so. So I have been able, after a couple of days of waiting due to the registry updates, the diploma had to be sent to the inspection, and technical issues, and having to think about my call sign. Being able to register the call sign PD5CVD, that is Papa Delta 5 Charlie Victor Delta, with the registry, and it is now officially in use by me. Yeah. So about that call sign, I initially wanted to use PD5VVX, but it kind of felt weird. First of all, the X got a bit associated with Elmo, thanks to X, the everything app, and stuff like that. Elmo's getting a lot of hate. I've made a video about that before. Secondly, if I were to ever do a Morse code course, I don't want too many long letters or too many short letters in a row. And if I look up the Morse alphabet, I can see that the Morse alphabet has the V and the X be practically very long letters. They consist of 4 pieces, which are either a dot or a dash. The C is also quite long. It consists of 4 pieces, but the D only consists of 3 pieces. So the suffix would only be a total of 4, 8, 11 pieces, unlike the original intended VVX, which would be 12 pieces. And remember, the dashes are typed out longer than the dots are, so that would make the identification a bit harder as well. However, so the new call sign does solve that problem, while still having a bit of a small nod to my online identity. Yeah, I explained this to my mom, and I told her the letters didn't really mean anything, but here I have just spoiled the secret. And by the way, about that secret, it shouldn't be a secret, especially considering that I am reaching 300 subscribers, very close to 300, and I really hope you go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Make sure to hit the notification bell as well, because apparently that makes sure that you get the notifications. And in general, just see you another time. Bye bye. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do, please give a thumbs up and share this video with all your friends, and perhaps consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Yeah, then all of a sudden, those buses are electric, but anyway.